Hello everyone, welcome back on our YouTube channel. As you know that we have in the last video we have completed topic number 5.2, and from this video we are gonna cover topic 5.3. If you don't remember exactly, I will go a bit up and will show you what we have done till now in chapter number 5. We started actually from test organization, how the test is organized, and this chapter is all about test management. Every activity which is performed during test management is being discussed. Then test planning and estimation topic was covered, different strategies, entry and exit criteria we have covered, and then factor influencing the test effort. Then test estimation technique we have seen for different kind of like agile development as well as for sequential projects. Now today we are gonna cover the new topic which is about test monitoring and control. And yes, if many of you remember from chapter number 1, where we have gone through this test process, different steps of test process, in which the first one was test planning and second one was monitoring and control. Like what is exactly actually you observe the progress of project during the runtime. Like at the start of project you define some matrices that we will see in a moment. Like you tell that there are different matrices. For example, you say for the test execute, for like let's say for test execution you have set a matrix that if number of defects found are fixed, then it is my matrix for like test execution. So like there are some criteria, there are some things you need to keep in mind about about test monitoring and control, so that you can actually monitor and control your progress during the complete steps of testing. So let's discuss today. The purpose of test monitoring is to gather information and provide feedback and visibility about test activities, like how the test progress is going on. And like you can do it, this monitoring and control is continuous process starting from the testing till the end. Information to be monitored may be collected manually or automatically and should be used to assess test progress and to measure whether the test exit criteria or the testing task associated with an agile project definition of done are satisfied, such as meeting the target of coverage of product risk requirement and acceptance criteria. Like at the very start of test planning you have defined some matrices, like I will meet this percent of coverage, that my all the requirements are covered. I will do my testing based on some risk testing, like different kind of criteria. And during the complete test process you go through those steps, you monitor and control your testing and see if we are on the right track or not. Test control describe any guiding or corrective action taken as a result of information and metrics gathered and possibly reported. Like then maybe you need to take some actions. I think this we have discussed in chapter number 1. Test monitoring is about measure your, like you are measuring your own progress during the testing. And then what is control? If something is out of, like you are not on the track, let's say, then you will take some actions, like so that you don't have any risk while the release of the project. You maybe you like reprioritize your ideas, you like change your ideas and you change your way of working. Maybe you include more people in the team. Some control actions you will take. It is action. Actions may cover any test activity and may affect any other software lifecycle activity. Example of test control includes reprioritizing test when an identified risk occur. Like for example, you came to know that there is a release date like in 2 weeks and I am not on the right track. I need to, like I have to complete the test coverage, let's say 95%, and I am on 80%. So maybe you will need some more manpower and you will prioritize, maybe like depending on the priorities and dependencies you will change your plan. Changing a test schedule due to availability and unavailability of a test environment or other resources, maybe like during the runtime, because initially you plan many things, but will these things will be under control 100%? Sometime no. The answer is clear no. So you have to change your paths, re-evaluating whether a test item meets an exit or entry or exit criteria due to work. So you have defined some entry and exit criteria that we have discussed in detail in previous video, and then you evaluate. So metrics used in testing. What are your parameters? what is in your mind, like what are your calculations and formulas actually for test, like you have defined some matrices that we have already seen. Like if you remember from the last video, there were some test estimation techniques, there were some test metrics that we take. We have some well defined matrices, and based on that we say that either we are in the right direction. Test monitoring is like you monitor your testing and then you go like further. So metrics can be collected during and at the end of test activities in order to assess progress against the plan, schedule and budget for sure, current quality of the test object, adequacy of the test approach, effectiveness of the test activities with respect to the objective. So you collect those matrices, you have some well defined matrices, and you say like for this part of test process I have this matrices. If it this happens, then my matrix is fine and I can exit, I can go to next steps. There are different matrices. Common test metrics include percentage of planned work done in test case preparation, like it's about that you can say whenever you are analyzing the test cases. So percentage of planned work done in test case preparation or percentage of planned test cases implemented, like test implementation. So this is a, you can say your your metrics actually, your metrics for the let's say you can say like test design and test implementation. Percentage of planned work done in test environment preparation, test cases execution, e.g. number of test cases run or not run, test cases passed failed and or test condition passed failed. Like this is the criteria during test execution. Like during test execution phase, if you remember, again the test process step, the second last step was test execution and the last was test completion. So during test execution you say these test cases are run, these test cases are not run. For example, 90 test cases out of 100 are run and I have product release let's say in 2 weeks. So you, based on this matrix, you will say, oh, I will meet the deadline. So this kind of thing. Defect information, like how much is the defect density, defect found and fixed, failure rate and confirmation test result. Like in every phase of your testing you have different matrices well defined. Test coverage of requirements, user stories, acceptance criteria, risk or code. So like there are different coverages for your requirement, user stories, acceptance criteria, risk or code. Like this is a different metrics. Then come task completion, resource allocation and usage and effort. This is also a matrix. Cost of testing, including the cost compared to the benefit of finding the next defect or the cost compared to the benefit of running the next test. So these are different matrices that you have well defined during your test planning phase, and then based on that matrices you will, like during the complete testing process, you will monitor your testing speed, your pace and your everything, and then based on that maybe you will need to take some control actions as well. So now the next subtopic is purpose, content and audience for test report. Like there are different kind of testing report that we have already discussed in chapter number 1. The first one was test progress report, the other one was test summary report. So the test progress report actually it is a throughout the testing life cycle. Like you will release many test progress report, your test manager actually, or who is like responsible for this, and test summary report comes at the end, like after the testing, and it contains like it includes, like for example, variances between like what actually you have planned for the testing and what actually tested, like how many deviations or defect densities you have. You can say complete overview. It test summary report. And test progress report comes, like many test progress reports you will get during the testing phase, but test summary report will be one and only one at the final stage. So the purpose of test reporting is to summarize and communicate test activity information both during and at the end of test activity, e.g. at all test all test level. For example, at unit testing you release one test progress report, after integration testing you release second progress report, like this. The test report prepared during test activity may be referred to as test progress report, while a test report prepared at the end of test activity may be referred to as a test summary report. So at the end of complete activity it's a test summary report. Could be at all test level. For example, during like unit testing you are continuously releasing each week one test progress report, and when the complete level is done then you release test summary report. It is also possible. During test monitoring and control, the test manager regularly issues test progress report for stakeholders, like for customer or those who have stakes in that project. In addition to content common to test progress report and test summary report, typical test progress report may also include the status of test activities and progress against the test plan, deviations actually what you have planned, so that those stakeholders already know the risk of releasing. They already know like you are anyhow out of the track, so maybe you will need more times. That's why you tell them about what was planned and what is being not done as per the plan. Factor impeding progress, maybe some different kind of factors could be there. We will discuss in detail in upcoming video about the different kind of actually the effects or the risk. Sometimes even you can also take it in that way. Testing plan for the next reporting period, the quality of test object, everything will be in the test progress report. When exit criteria are reached, the test manager issues the test summary report. This report provides a summary for the testing performed based on the latest test progress report and any other relevant information. Like maybe the test summary report is anyhow 80% same as a last test progress report. So but and then maybe in that test progress report you have some deviations, but in the final phase you tell them every deviation is removed, we are as per the plan. It is also possible. Typical test summary report include summary of testing performed, information on what occurred during a testing period, deviations from plan including deviation in schedule, duration or effort of test activities. You give deviation of every phase of your testing, it status of testing and product quality with respect to exit criteria or definition of done. As we know, like in agile, at very start during planning we tell that like it's a definition of done. When it is done, then we say this part is over. So you have defined your exit criteria. You also tell your stakeholders like you are meeting those criteria. Factor that have blocked or continue to block the progress, matrix of defect, test cases, test coverage, activity progress and resource consumption, e.g. as described in 5.3.1. this we have already seen. Like there are resources consumptions that we have seen already here, like during a matrix. So there could be many things. Even residual risk, still are there some risks? This we will see in detail in the part 5.5, which is completely about the risk. Reusable test work product produced, like maybe this could be used for the future testing. So like you can simply just remember it like it's a test summary report. It will include everything. The content of test report will vary depending on the project, the organizational requirement and the software development lifecycle. For example, a complex project with many stakeholders or a regulated project may require more detailed and rigorous reporting than a quick software update. For example, for a normal app, and you are like one project is normal, you have to design a mobile app, and other project you have to design an automotive part, safety critical part. So the reporting will be totally different. That one is totally risk based, and then it will contain more information. As another example, in agile development, test progress reporting may be incorporated into task board, defect summaries and burn down charts, which may discuss during daily stand-up meeting. So for that actually we have to go to agile tester, but I think like you can see those detail in ISTQB CTFL agile tester actually. But like it is enough in agile development. Normally if you are already working in agile development, or maybe you know this method, we have a daily stand up and then we discuss what are the problems, what are the issues, and we have some task board, some task define, some story points. So they are talking only about this, but you don't need to go in that detail. This basic definition is enough for you. In addition to tailoring test report based on the context of project, test report should be tailored based on the report's audience. Like maybe like reports audience, like you are generating one test progress report for your higher management who understand the technical terms, but one test progress report maybe for the customer who do not know that technicalities. So there could be some, like there could be different types of report. The type and amount of information that should be included for a technical audience or a test team may be different from what would be included in an executive summary report. Like so it varies. Like for the customer you will have a non-technical report only about the deviations and issues and what you have done successfully, but for your technical audience you will have some technical terms in that. In the first case, detailed information on defect type and trend may be important. In the first case, like if you are your audience is technical, you will tell them about what are kind of defects we have, like what are their trends and like some technical terms. In the latter, like executive summary, let's say a high level report, e.g. status summary of defect by priority, budget, schedule and test condition, pass, fail, not tested may be more appropriate. Like because if non-technical audience or your executive team may be more interested, like what is the cost of your project, like how much far you are in the project, maybe you need to some reschedule, priorities you have to change, or how many test cases were planned, how many are passed, how many are failed. But for the technical team, maybe you need to include each of the fault or defect in detail and then discuss. ISO standard ISO IC IEEE 291193 refers to two types of test report: test progress report and test completion report, also called test summary report in this syllabus. So test completion report and test summary report, they both are anyhow same. You can see them in ISO standard, but like it is not for you. If you want to go in detail, anyhow it has nothing to take with the exam of ISTQB, but anyhow if you want to discuss in detail, read in detail, then you can go through it, and contain structure and examples for each type. So friends, this was everything for topic 5.3. I hope I have explained in detail. If you have any question, any doubt, just put it in the comment section. Until the next video, we wish you very happy learning. Don't forget to subscribe our channel, like our videos, share with your friends, and happy learning, and bye.